Troy Galloway is a construction manager and consultant, commercial and residential builder, and a certified inspector for all commercial and residential buildings. And now, here is About the House with Troy Galloway.
Welcome back, folks, to About the House. I am so tickled to have you all back, and we really are happy that we have a great guest today, and we're going to give a quick introduction to Jeff in just a little bit. But let me tell you a little bit about the House, the radio show that we're listening to. This is an absolutely unique radio show. We are one of a kind, and it's everything about your home. It's from construction to real estate to banking to contracts, lawyers, everything about your home. And what makes it really awesome is that it's on podcast and YouTube, so you can go back and listen to it over and over again. It's your audio university. Like I said, everything about your home. And by the way, I'm Troy Galloway. I am your humble host, and I'm the owner of Galloway Building Services. And just like About the House, the radio show, we, too, are a one-of-a-type company. There isn't anybody in the Midwest that does the type of work we do. We are an inspection company. And yes, we do home and building inspections, so if you're buying a home or you're buying a commercial building, please give us a call, check us out. We take care of that. But what makes it so unique is that we also do construction inspections. So if you're getting a construction project done and you want to make sure that it's being done right, please give us a call. It's kind of like, I was talking to some folks just the other day. It's kind of like buying a brand new computer. So that computer, it's all nice and fancy and clean and shiny, but heck fire, you don't have any idea what's even inside of it. Are these used parts? Are the parts put in right? Well, that's what we get called in for, to make sure that the job is being done right and it's being done to the specs that you want. The very, very, very cool thing that we can help people with. We also do construction litigation work. So heaven forbid that if you have a conflict with your contractor, or if you're a contractor and you're having a little conflict with your homeowner because people just think, hey, maybe this job isn't being done right, who do you call? Well, if you call another contractor, what are they going to do? They're going to come in here and say, well, that ain't right, because they're going to try to steal the job. Well, that's not a non-biased opinion. So that's a very much prejudiced opinion. So you want somebody that doesn't have a dog in the fight, going to call it as it is. We also take it all the way to court. We work with several attorneys that could help you. So we can help you with this all the way. Also, too, what we're doing is that we're kind of adding to, we also do, I hate to call it trip and fall, but say if you get hurt on somebody's property because of some construction work or something that they've done wrong and left a safety hazard, you call us. We do expert witnessing for that. One thing that we really are promoting a lot more, and it's kind of a sad thing, but it's definitely something that helps a lot. So you get in a divorce, and one of the parties want to keep the house. Well, you don't want to pay any more for that house than what it's worth, and you know that it's probably got problems. Well, if you get an appraisal, appraisal's only going to give you just the norm, what the average of everything is in the neighborhood. Well, but if you got problems, you'd like to have that deducted off the average. So you get a fair evaluation of the property. So you come in, we give you an inspection, we give a cost analysis of the repair, just a total ball of wax. And it's sad when anytime people get divorced, but it's really, really helping a lot of people, and we're getting a lot of great compliments for that. So just, try to keep that in mind also. Well, like I said, I'm Troy Galloway, owner of Galloway Building Services, and our motto of our company is that we make sure the job is being done right. You're getting what you paid for, and you're not getting ripped off. So give us a call. Troy Galloway with Galloway Building Services, and my phone number to my office is 636-394-3112, or call me direct on my cell phone, 314-520-6655. Well, folks, hey, I'm really tickled to be able to bring this guest to you. I've been Jeff Mitchell with the rubber duck swimming pool repair. I've been trying to get Jeff. We've been talking to Jeff to get him in the studio here probably, I think, since this time last year. Jeff, jump in here and introduce yourself. Tell us about your company and what you do.
My name is Jeff Mitchell. I'm Rubber Duck Swimming Pools and Handyman, which the handyman side we're not running right now because we're 100% swimming pools. You know, I've been in the swimming pool business so long that I forget how many years I've been in it. And I looked at it the other day, and it's 22 years I've been in the sswimming pool business.
That's a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
No wonder all that white hair.
That's why. That's what all that gray hair on that chin from. That's why my top of my head keeps on getting thinner. We've built some of the best pools in the state of Missouri over the years. I've worked for a number of great companies over the years.
Well, what brought you into the swimming pool business? What promoted? What energized you to do this?
It was kind of funny. It's a guy named John Federling. His company was Pool Pros. He's actually retired and his company shut down. My brother was working for him, and John asked my brother, "Hey, do you have another brother that can come to work for us?" And my brother Eddie said, "Yeah, my brother Jeff can come help us." So I went, and the first day I got there, I opened up a couple swim pools, and I was like, "Man, this ain't that hard to work." I said, so I went to another background on me is I went to North County Tech. I took building service mechanics. So at the same time, I was doing some Section 8 work and doing other stuff, doing some fence for Kennedy Fence, doing all kinds of other stuff. And when I kind of stumbled in the swimming pool business, I was like, I didn't think that I was really going to like it. I thought I would, because went to school for this other stuff. But the whole thing is, if you know what a swimming pool is, it's everything it's electrical, it's plumbing, it's concrete, it's steel, it's coping. It's so much of everything thrown together that all the stuff I went to school for worked out perfect for me. And that was the funny thing. So the first 3 days of working for John, all I did was open up swimming pools.
Now, when you say open up swimming pools, help me out real quick. What does that mean?
Opening up a swimming pool would consist of, pulling off the cover. And back in them days, when I first started, it was a whole bunch of water bags all the way around the pool and an old tarp on there that you had to drain the tarp, all the water off there. And then, and then the nastiest dead squirrels in there. Ugh. And the rotten leaves, and I don't miss that at all. So you're pulling off the cover, you get the cover off, and then you go through and you start pulling out the rubber plugs that were put in there during the wintertime. Pull out all the plugs, go put all the plugs back into the filter system, and then start up the pool like it was running during the summertime. Well, there's a trick to it, too, on opening. And this is where you have to know a good swimming pool company and a crappy swimming pool company. Is when the swimming pool company comes out and he opens up your pool, if he dumps chlorine in your pool and starts your pool and leaves, fire him.
How come?
Because every swimming pool sits over the winter. It needs to be brushed. Because chlorine is not going to fight the algae caked on the wall unless you introduce that to the chlorine.
So you're cleaning it with a brush, the walls of the swimming pool.
So just go around and brush the whole pool. I mean, literally 100% of the pool.
And the bottom too, I assume, right?
Bottom too, everything. So you are introducing all the algae that's on the wall to the pool so it can kill it. If you don't do that, guess what? You just dump chlorine in there for no reason because it's not going to kill it off the wall. I deal with it all the time. People call me up and say, "Hey, my pool's green. The pool company was out here. They shocked the pool. They put 15 gallons of chlorine in here, and my pool's still green." And the first thing I say, "Did they brush the walls?" And they go, "Well, I didn't see them brush the walls." Well, that's why your pool's still green.
So they half did it, charged full price.
They charge full price. I see it all the time. And some of that is your water will be crystal clear. There won't be nothing wrong with your water. But it's called a mirroring effect. So what's happening is the surface of your pool is still green. So when you're looking at it, the clear water, it's mirroring it through so it looks green. So like I said, if they don't brush it, that's number one. That's the biggest problem in the swimming pool business is, and I'm sure with, you see it with your business, I see it with my business, is we're not seeing qualified individuals in any industry anymore.
No, it's sad where you're right.
It's because nobody wanted to physically go out and do what we're doing. So what is happening is the quality of work is not there with a lot of what I'm seeing over the last 10 years,
What else are now besides the brushing of it when you're opening the pool? Well, what are some of the other things that you're doing? Because we don't do any pool inspections. I just like to refer them to experts like yourself.
Like the pool inspections, usually we just get them started, get them up and running, going, and then, tell the customer to kind of watch the water level, make sure it doesn't drop. If there's something else that I see, like if the filter's got a crack in it, or maybe say we started up your pool motor and I had to free up the back of it because the bearings were locked. I would tell the customer that, say, hey, we had to free up the motor this year. It's making a little bit of noise because the bearings are going out.
Is that common for the bearings?
It's very common for it to go out because the swimming pool motor is not set to be shut down for 6 months. So you got to think this thing's been running 24 hours a day for 6 months, and that bearing gets super, super hot that whole time. And then you just shut it down for 6 months. So what is that bearing going to do? It's going to actually seize up because it's got so hot, it got big. And now when it's sitting over the winter, it's shrank down and it's not in that same groove. So it'll make it where it doesn't want to work, spin like it should. Usually when your bearings are going out on your pool, you will know pretty fast. It's the whiningest, loudest noise you ever heard in your life. You will walk over the pool motor and you will know.
Oh, okay.
You will know right away.
So when you're opening them up, are there any kind of you said something about filters earlier? Is there like a filter change or cleaning, or how does that filter business even work?
Every 4 years, or every 4 to 5 years, if you have a sand filter, you need to clean your filter with a media sand. They make all kinds of different kinds of sand. They make a Merrimack sand, which I suggest you do not use.
Don't use a Merrimack sand.
No, you want to use a silica or even a finer sand. Silica is a fine sand. That's what you want to use. With the Merrimack sand, it's too big pores, so you're not catching the finer debris.
That makes sense.
They do make something called Zeo sand. It's more like a kitty litter base. It kind of looks like kitty litter, but it's going to trap even more particles per million, and that's what you're catching. You have a DE filter. That's what it is diatomaceous earth that's ground up seashells. And when we talk about a filtration system, it's how many parts per million can it catch when it goes through it. So if I can catch 1,000 parts per million when it's coming through there, guess what? When I'm filtering it back to the pool, that's how clean it's getting. So that's what you want to do. And that's when your sand starts to get dirty, you can't backwash off your sand to get all that old dirt off there to get what you want, that 1,000 parts per million to clean. Most people don't understand the swimming pool. During the day, all it's doing is turning that water over constantly. It's the same water it pumped back in there. It's getting back through it, a couple of, I'd say 30 minutes later. It's getting that same water back through it. It's just constantly circulating that water. So what it's doing is, when it's circulating the water, it's cleaning the water. And then if you have on a chlorinator or salt system, it's chlorinating the pool or the salt, it's breaking the salt down into a liquid the whole time, that's what you need. People always ask me, say, should I shut my motor off at night? Is one of my biggest things. Shut motor. No, don't ever leave your pool running. There's no reason to turn it off. Well, my electric bill's high. That's not the swimming pool motor. That's your air conditioner.
That makes sense.
Think about it. You didn't have that air conditioner running all winter long, and then all of a sudden your bill gets higher, and it's the same time that swimming pool motor goes on. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's that much different? No.
And them AC units, they could suck up the electric, that's for sure. And I imagine them pumps, they don't probably draw a whole lot.
They don't draw that much because there's just 220 pumps over there. And like I said, and the whole thing is, so I got a customer. They say, well, I'm going to shut it off. I said, then I talk to them and say, hey, why don't we put a variable speed motor on there? So during the daytime, it's running 32,000 RPMs during the daytime when the sun's out and you need it the most to work. So the sun's baking out the chlorine, it's baking out stuff. So I want to filter it during that time of day the most. So at nighttime, I can set the variable speed motor up that it runs 14,000 RPMs. So it's still turning over, but they're not using as much power. And that's the way, and the good thing is right now, Ameren's got a rebate of $250. So if you put that motor on there, you send in your rebate, they're giving you $250.
Oh, I bet people don't know about that.
Yeah, so that's what, So you get a $250 rebate. Yeah, you're spending $1,000 for the motor, but you're getting $250 back. So you're putting a regular motor on there, you're still going to spend $8-something on that. So really, you're getting the variable speed motor for almost what it's going to cost you for a regular motor.
That's a good tip.
So that's what, and mostly if you're, and the other good thing is, like I said, if you got any kind of other automation on your pool, that when you turn on the automation, you can have one of your settings set there so you can push the button. So like say your waterfall is set up on the same line as your swimming pool stuff, it can make that work. That's the good thing about a variable speed motor. And like I said, and the Ameren's giving the rebate, and you don't have to shut it off because what the little power it's going to have at night, you'll never even notice it.
So with the water being recycled and cleaned, if you don't have a good cleansing system, is there health issues or any kind of health problems associated with dirty water other than the appearance?
Like I tell most people is, if your pool is filtrated right and your pH levels are right, your alkalinity levels are right, and your chlorine's right, there's nothing. I would swim in your pool every day, though. If I personally can walk up to a swimming pool and look at it and know that the chemicals are off, even though they say, I can look at your pool and tell. I would drink people's swimming pool water before I would drink regular tap water sometimes.
Yeah. Well, now, what all are you? Now we're kind of moved out of opening up the pool into the summertime, and what are some of the things that we're looking at during the summertime as a pool owner that we need somebody to help us, and especially if we're out of town, but just period.
Number one is to once a week, shock your pool. If it's chlorine pool, you need to shock it. And then we're going to go back to the same thing that I said earlier with opening the pool. I want you to brush your pool once a week.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. There's pores. There's just stuff in there that I vacuumed it. Yeah, you vacuumed it. But when you vacuumed it, you didn't see dirt, so you just kind of went real fast. With the brush, you're brushing it up. If there is any algae in there or anything in there, it's going to pick it up into the water, introduce it to the water so the filter can pick it up.
So this is not just a one time. This is a once a week you recommend.
Once a week, I recommend brushing your pool.
Now, is that a really a time-consuming thing, or is it just a quick brush over?
Just a quick brush over. Like I said, if 15 minutes out there brushing your pool on a Sunday, and then after you brush it, I suggest throwing a liquid shock in it, once a week. Mostly if you're having a party or something, then I suggest always doing, after the party's over, putting a liquid chlorine in there. Just because there is some bacteria off people's skins, oils and stuff, and that's going to break it down.
Talking about that, now we're in the middle of this COVID thing happening. Is there any kind of health issues with that? I mean, have you heard of any? I've not heard of anything.
I haven't heard anything. And my thing is, personally, I'm a swimming pool guy. So I believe in liquid chlorine. And I think that it could kill anything.
I think so, too.
Liquid chlorine, you could pour it on a dirty spot on a wall, and guess what? Come back 15 minutes later and it's clean.
So that might answer my next question, because I do get asked a lot, just in general, and people peeing in the pool. First, I'm going to ask you: is that a fable that if you pee in the pool that there's chemicals that makes it turn colors? Because I've never seen.
No, that's just an old wise tale.
That keeps people from doing it.
But actually, here's a funny fact about peeing in the pool.
I mean, I know that's kind of getting off.
Yeah, but it's a thing. It's the summertime. It's the summertime. Every kid's peeing in the pool.
Yeah.
I don't care if you tell that kid not to pee in the pool. He's peeing.
As soon as you tell him, that thing's just cutting loose.
It's cutting loose. The pee is an acid. All right, so it's funny. So I'm not telling you to pee in your pool, but it is an acid. So your pH levels work off acids. If your pH is too high, you put muriatic acid in it to bring it down. So if you got 15 kids in there peeing in it, guess what your pH level is going to be? Super low. Because of the acid in the pee.
I'll be darned.
So if you ever go to like a public pool, you will always see them putting pH up in it. And actually, like the commercial pools actually have big tanks in the basements of them that hold baking soda.
Really?
And what it's doing is it's bringing up the pH levels. Because guess what? Every little kid's in there peeing in there.
Yeah, well, I got a feeling it ain't just the little kids either.
Yeah, I know.
We'll blame them.
We're going to blame all the little kids. So, you're thinking about that. And your skin naturally is going to give off, some of the pH. It's going to break down your pH levels by being in the pool. Everybody always asks me, is it better? I got the swimming pool. We don't swim in it that often. I said, well, that's the worst thing for it. You want to have people in your pool. You want to stir over that water. You want to have natural bacteria off the skin in there to help the pool work. If the pool's just sitting there, nobody's in it, nobody's ever using it, you're probably going to have more problems.
That's interesting.
Because it's just not, the floor doesn't get walked on. So guess what? If you're not brushing it, same thing with the brushing. Be swimming in it, it's breaking that water up, getting it stirred up. And that's the whole thing. People don't understand that. I'm the biggest, me and, you probably go over to RNS on Dorset. I'm going to blast their name out there because they took care of me for 20 some odd years. And Michelle at Sensoid Aquatech off of Grab Boys took care of me. But if you go ask Michelle or any of the guys at RNS, what is the most important thing to do during the summer on a swimming pool? They're going to tell you brush. They're going to tell you to brush your pool. Because it is turning the water over. It's getting the chemicals, and chemicals do like to settle to the bottom. And like chlorine likes to lay sometimes on the floor. So guess what? It's stirring it up So, you know, Polaris pool cleaner. So this is in your automation side, your cleaning side of your pool. The Polaris pool cleaner is designed with a tail on the back of it that whips around like a snake.
Oh, that's what that is. I've seen that before.
So what that does is same thing as brushing. So as your cleaner's running around, it's picking up the dirt, but the back of the tail is whipping around to brush the pool and to keep anything that's stuck in a crevice or anything is washing it out. Same thing as brushing. So that's why that cleaner's designed like that. So why would a manufacturer build this cleaner for the last 30 years with this tail on the back of it if brushing wasn't important?
Right. Well, let me ask you about the different type of swimming pool liners. And we're talking about cleaning and if one helps versus or what the advantages. Tell us about the different liners and the disadvantages and advantages to them.
Well, in the concrete side of on the in-ground side of the pool, you have a gunite pool, which is concrete. Then you have a liner pool, that's a liner put in the pool. Then you have a fiberglass one piece, that's a whole fiberglass pool. When I first started 20 years ago, the fiberglass pools were just junky. The guys didn't know how to install them. They always had problems. Nowadays, they're actually very nice pools. So then you go to the liner pool. Good thing about a liner pool is it's half the cost of a concrete pool. But at the same time you can have some more of a design feature on your top. So you can pick like different walls, different steps, different stuff that you can interchange to it. Now the best of the best is a concrete gunite pool. If you want the best and you're going to pay the money, you're going to get what you want in a concrete gunite. If you want swimming lanes in it, if you want tanning ledges in it, if you want bar stools in it, if you want
bar stools. Now, that's a neat idea. I bet that's fun.
Well, that's what,
Now, explain to folks what gunite is, because I know there's a lot of folks out here. You and I know, but I know a lot of people don't.
Gunite is a shot concrete. It doesn't have rocks in it.
So what do they shoot it on?
They shoot it on a an 8x8 grid of steel. Uh-huh. So your pool wall is actually 8 inches thick. The old pools were 12, but the new ones, the standards say that we only have to be 8 inches, and an 8x8 grid tied in there of steel. So when they're shooting it up there, it's almost a drier concrete. It comes out of a hopper gun. We were just laughing about something a little while ago about the hopper gun.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that part. But it gets shot out of a hopper gun onto a wall, and it's staggered up. There is a company out there called Missouri Gunite that they shoot theirs, and it's almost dry. It comes sand and Portland on a truck, and it comes out dry. And when it hits the end of the gun, it mixes with water in the end. And it's very, very like sandy looking when they shoot it. They go in there and sculpt the whole thing with piano wires. And they get the whole pool sculpted out. So that's the first part of the gunite, in-ground concrete. Then you got to go and put your brick coping on, your tile on. And then a company like Shilley Murphy's Plastering comes in and plasters the whole pool. So you get the perfect smooth finish on the bottom and the 1,000 colors you want now. There's probably 100 different colors you can put on the bottom of the finish, and numerous different types of finishes. Shilley Plastering is known for a pebble sheen and a pebble tech feature. It's just a different type of finish that they do on the bottom of the pool, and Shilley has mastered it over the years. Shilley's probably the best plaster company in St. Louis.
They are a great company. I know we've used them before. I love them.
Yeah, the quality is that he's going to be more expensive than probably, somebody else. But at the same time, is the quality of his work is top notch. You're not going to have to go back and say, hey, I got this pop spot right there it's popping up right there, or why isn't my color of my plaster looking the exact same? Why does it look like the moon? Where I got a dark spot here, light spot here. And that's what a good plaster company's going to do.
Mm-hmm, right.
Is he's going to make your finish of your pool look all the same. And the thing with Dave Shilhey too is that his company has all the bells and whistles that other companies don't have. He has a water blaster truck that he's going to come in and water blast your surface of your pool, and it's going to get down to the concrete. His same crew is going to come in with a suck truck that's going to suck up all that debris that they took off there. He's going to suck it out there. His next crew is going to come in and spray the bonding agent on there before the next crew comes in with a big old truck again and plaster your pool. He's going to tape off your tile. He's going to put plastic on your ground. He's going to not leave a mess in the street where he had to wash out his truck.
Oh, yeah.
These are all the things that you have to think about when you're hiring a plaster company to plaster your pool.
Now, this is only for our gunite system.
That's only gunite.
For our liner systems, or do they, I guess actually my wife's father was a swimming pool installer, and they did the liners, but them liners just didn't last real long, and they was kind of expensive and hard. What's the deal with them now? Are they, I assume, better, but
they're better quality liners, and that's the other thing that you really have to look at too. Is if you call a company up and you say, I need a liner put in, and the guy goes, oh yeah, I can do that for you. Mm-hmm. A little scary, Do
you do that?
I do not put in-ground liners in. I do put above-ground liners in, but I do not put in-ground liners in. I actually refer them all over to Jeff Florida Pool and Spa. They do probably 100 a year.
Oh, wow.
So if you're doing 100 liners a year, you master measuring it, number one. And that's the biggest thing when you have an in-ground liner, is mastering the specs of measuring the pool. Because every pool is going to be different.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're not going to get the same floor on every one. So measuring the pool out to get the liner to fit in there perfect is what you want. And these guys do it all the time, so they specialize in it. That's the difference between pool companies. You don't want, every pool company can't do everything. I know that a lot of people are going to be listening to this show that are my friends and people that I do swimming pools for, and they think I can do everything on a swimming pool. I can't. I don't do the in-ground liners. It's too much.
Well, that makes good sense. Actually, so Joey asked, our producer, which I always like to throw a good plug in for Joey, but he asked, what's the advantages and disadvantages of in-ground versus above ground swimming pools? Is there, or which ones do you work on the most that you have the worst problems with, or?
The whole, like I said, it's Joey. I was laughing when Joey said that $100,000.
That's the difference.
That's the difference. $100,000.
That's a lot of money.
A basic average price right now going for above ground pool. Let's just say, shoot off the hip, 27 round. You're looking $5,000 just for the pool. Mm-hmm. And then you're looking probably another, $4,000 for an installer and the ground to be done. In the in-ground pool, this is just throwing out another kind of thing is, Pooltron, Larry and his brother, they're not going to put a shovel in the ground for under $100,000 for an in-ground pool, So you're looking at that. Number two is, are you going to stay? I'm going to build an in-ground pool. Somebody calls me and says, I want to build an in-ground pool. The first thing I talk to them about is, because I do kind of the same thing as you do, is I do some consulting on people building in-ground pools. So you got a pool contractor in there building a pool, is I'll go by there once every 2 weeks and make sure that the project's looking all right. I go through and like check some of the stuff that he's doing just to make sure. I know a lot of guys are great, and I'm friends with 90% of the swimming pool people in St. Louis. But I want, some people just want that extra, security there.
Mm-hmm, right.
So the number one thing is I ask people is, how long are you going to live at your house?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to move out in 2 years, why are you putting a swimming pool in your backyard? Mm-hmm. You're going to spend $100,000 in your backyard and you're moving out. Put above ground back there. Put above ground up. It could be tore down if the next owner doesn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
That goes on the whole thing of selling your house. You got an in-ground swimming pool that was your idea, your design, what you thought in your head, what you wanted. That you wanted that big swimming ledge on there. You wanted it 8 foot deep in the middle. You wanted this on it. What says the next person that gets there doesn't want that? That's where you got to think when you're putting an in-ground swimming pool in there. Above ground, you can tear it down.
Mm-hmm.
Fill in the dirt. Mm-hmm. You're done.
Yes, and and there's a lot of other things. Actually, as a builder, this is a hint to all you folks out there. If you find a good swimming pool company that does any of these underground pools, they have to do something with that dirt. And you can work a deal out that you can get some good backfill dirt. And we go through the Home Builders Association because a lot of our home building companies are part of the Home Builders Association. So we kind of do that, work hand in hand. So that's a great little tip there. Well, we're going to keep moving along here a little bit, but I did want to ask you about, so I'm hearing a lot more, like, I'm not a swimming pool guy, so bear with my ignorance here, but that's why I have you. Seawater systems or saltwater systems. Talk about today, what does all this mean?
Well, so think about when you go to the ocean. Look how clear the ocean is. This is kind of how I go with my salt spiel. Is you go to the ocean's crystal clear. And what is the ocean? Nothing but salt water. And it's filtrating it too. The sunlight's beaming in the salt and it's making the water clear. So how a saltwater system works is you have a generator system set up on your line in your swimming pool. And it's hooked into a generator. So when the solid of the salt goes through the line, it's breaking it down into liquid, and it's turning it into liquid chlorine.
Okay.
All day long. So that's the number two thing why I tell you not to shut off your swimming pool, because guess what? It's not making the chlorine if it's not going through the system. So everybody asks what's the pros and cons of salt and chlorine. I'm a salt guy. I love salt. Your pH levels do stay up a little bit higher, so you have to put muriatic acid in there a little bit more just to bring down your pH levels. But I'm a salt guy. I think that salt is a great way to do it. It's softer on your skin.
Yeah, I've heard that. So that's right. It is, huh?
I think it personally, if I'm swimming in a pool all day long working, I think my knees and my joints feel better when I get out, because think about it, you're almost like you're swimming in Epsom salt.
Oh yeah.
So salt, and everybody says, does it taste like salt? That's my number one thing. Yes, it does have a little bit of a taste. I say it kind of tastes like sweat, like just a little bit of a hint of salt. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's over, like eating table salt, like you're just throwing it in your mouth and it's salt like that. No, it just has a hint. Chlorine, you got the other properties of chlorine is when you're running a chlorinator, you have to make sure it's full of chlorine. You're putting the tablets in there. There's kids that are allergic to the chlorine. People always say, does my hair turn green? Yeah, it can.
Yeah. Well, today that might be popular.
Yeah.
Can you turn it pink too?
Can we pink, green, whatever? And what that is I tell people that too, is read the back of your shampoo and conditioner bottles.
Uh-huh.
Every one of them tells you on the back of it if it's going to do that to your hair.
Oh.
Because they don't want to be sued because you're using their product and get in a swimming pool and your hair turns green. Oh. It says it on the back of them. So you like...
That's a good tip.
And I've learned it more in like the high-end conditioners and shampoos. And what some of that is the pHs in the shampoo and conditioners. So what it does is the chlorine like reacts with those because it's stuck in your hair. You don't rinse it all the way out. That's what's turning it more green.
Well, let's jump in here and before we wrap up the show, let's talk about the end of the season. And we want to get our swimming pool so we don't have a lot of troubles for the next year. We want to be able to be. Tell us, what is it that you do and how you can help people and what to be expecting when you show up to wrap. I don't even know what you call it. Buttoning it up.
It's called closing. It's called closing for the year. I usually tell people to call me at least 2-3 weeks ahead of time.
I know you're busy at that time.
So because it's opening time, I can squeeze you in and get you in an opening. A closing is a little bit more work because number one is we have to drain out your water below your returns so we can blow out the water out the line. Number two is we have to unscrew all the safety covers, put your cover on your pool. We're carrying more equipment with us too because we got the air compressor. We got gallons of antifreeze. So how it kind of works is we show up to your house, we take our big pump, and we drain down the water below your returns. And then we have some pipes set up that we screw in the walls, and in your skimmer, and take our air compressor and we blow all the water out the line. Now, people say, how do you know you got all the water out the line? Because that's a good scary question. Yeah. Everybody's scared that. So that's what the antifreeze is for. So people think that I'm taking this antifreeze, I'm going to fill your whole line with antifreeze. All right. The antifreeze is set. So if you look at winterizing antifreeze, it's like a dark pink red color. When I pour that in the line, I take my air compressor and I blow that back to where I just blew all that water. So I'm going to see that antifreeze come out that line. So if that antifreeze is all at that line, guess what? I don't have any water in that line, do I? Can't. And if there is a low line area, say that a guy plumbed uphill and they went downhill and they went around the corner and they went back up, because he didn't know how to plumb in the pool, that antifreeze will sit in that area so you don't get it to freeze and bust in that area too. So any leftover antifreeze is going to sit there. Then we'll go back and plug off all the pool. Usually we put a gallon of algicide in and 5 gallons of liquid chlorine. On a liner pool, we just really put the antifreeze in, and we tell you to run like a winterizing kit through your swimming pool first. So we're not actually pouring that in there and having a problem staying out your liner. So that's why you want to use more of a winterizing kit on a liner pool. Because you don't want to pour that liquid chlorine in there and it's not turning over. And then putting safety covers, which 90% of every pool in St. Louis has a safety cover on it. What a safety cover is, it looks like a big trampoline over the top of your
Okay, so it's called a safety cover, okay.
Yeah. So you want that safety cover on there it's funny because I'm sitting in a room with him, but he knows how big I am. You guys will hear me on the radio. I'm 300 pounds. I'm 6'2". I'm a big old guy. And when I put on a safety cover, a brand new one, I walk across it for the customer to show them that if I can walk across this thing, your kid, your dog, anybody else on there is not going to drown.
I'm glad you said that, because I often worried about that too.
Now, here's the thing. Safety covers are the same thing as everything else. They have to be replaced because the sun is out there baking on them.
Right.
The seams are going to start to rot. Just the whole part of it's just going to deteriorate after time. And you got chlorine underneath there, so it's kind of baking on it. Sun's baking on it. So safety covers do need to be replaced. Can I tell you how often they need to be replaced? No. I do suggest when we do the opening of your pool that you have the safety covers taken with the pool company and clean and stored at their facility, or you clean and store it. Don't leave the leaves and all the stuff in it, and then it's sitting there deteriorating in the cover and making more acid and breaking down the cover faster. Mm-hmm. So you want to wash your cover every year.
That's
so you're not replacing it, because an average cost of a safety cover is $5,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So you got $5,000, that you're not wanting to replace all the time.
Well, this is really some great information, Jeff. I know we got a whole lot more questions. We're going to have another series of this because I did want to touch base with you. And then, folks, you can touch base with Jeff on these same questions that I was like. We talk about covers, but water heaters and some other kind of how-to issues. And Jeff will answer any of your questions. Jeff, give them some information how they can find your company.
Number one is the phone number. This is my cell phone number, so the number is 314-922-4936, and then our website is rubberduckstl.com.
That's an easy one to remember. rubberduckstl.com. It's a great web page, folks, that help you out find a lot of great information.
And you can click on the web page if you just remember the web page. Once you go on the webpage, there's a spot on there you can touch, and it'll automatically call me. We're A1 accredited with Better Business Bureau, which I take much pride in that. That if there was ever an issue with anything, I try to solve it right away. And then our webpage, the gal that's doing the webpage, she's going to start introducing a whole bunch of stuff to the webpage.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. Give me that phone number one more time.
314-922-4936.
Oh, thanks a lot, Jeff. Jeff, you're going to have to come back. We're going to bring you back, hopefully, maybe if you get a chance this fall after you get everything buttoned. I know, because you go crazy for that. For shutting out, closing swimming pools. But folks, this is thank you for listening. I'm really enjoyed today's show. It's so much information that you're going to probably have to listen to it a few times over, and that's great. That's why we have it on podcast and on YouTube. And Jeff's going to be getting it on his Facebook page too. So, well, thank you, folks. This is Troy Galloway, your humble host, owner of Galloway Building Services, and our phone number. I'll give you my cell phone is 314-520-6655. And once again, I love to give a shout out to Joey, our producer. He takes good care of us. For him, this wouldn't be getting done. So thank you, Joey. Thank you, Jeff. And y'all, thank you, everybody out there listening. Y'all have a great day.
Sponsored by Troy Galloway and Galloway Building Services, your top choice for professional home inspections in the St. Louis area. GallowayBuildingServices.com.